Hello! I'm actually recording this on New Year's Eve. Right before I do an extra live, or an extra long pair of lives. I'll be doing a pair of lives New Year's Eve. One of them on Patreon, one of them on YouTube. So, if you want to go out and check out what those lives were like, go back and find them. But, yeah, we are almost done with the 90s cartoon intros. One more episode after this. So we are on the penultimate 90s cartoon intro reaction from me. I like saying penultimate. Anyway, so probably going to be some weird ones in here. So let's get to it. Don't like this part, but the audio in this part is just unpleasant. Spielberg. He did. Spielberg produced a lot of cartoons back in the 90s. Spielberg was there were a lot of Spielberg produced cartoons in the 90s. Yeah, that was a pretty fun intro. I dug it.
Toxic Crusaders, Toxic Crusaders. I had no friends, no girls that hugged me till I got radioactive ugly. Toxic Crusaders.
Again, it's one of those things where, like, if I recall... Actually, no, I mean... You know what, I believe the original Toxic Crusader was, like, kind of a goofy movie, wasn't it? What was the original? Oh. Oh, based on the Toxic Avenger, right. Toxic Avenger was the original. Alright, it was a comedy. Yeah, that was a comedy movie. Alright, you know what? Okay. I was gonna compare it to Swamp Thing, but I was like, actually no, it was not a serious one, was it? It was a comedy, so okay.
I lived it up 'cause the rent's real low. Got a little back by me and he loves me so. Toxic Crusaders. Now me and the boys fight against law.
Very 80s theme. The theme music gives real 80s vibes to me. Music, like just 80s music. I think it did come out in 91, so.
With my mom, tutu and girl. Wow! Toxic Crusaders, Toxic Crusaders, Toxic.
Goofy. Fun.
Striving to save the world from the evil Decepticons, the heroic Autobots are led by Optimus Prime. He's more than meets the eye. He's a robot in disguise.
Ugh. Like, I get, he's more than meets the eye. Or, like, I get that, more than meets the eye. Robots in disguise. Like, those were sort of the taglines for the 80s, for the Transformers back in the day. But, I don't know, I think it's the speed with which it's said is just, it makes it feel really forced. It's like, yeah, we gotta throw these in. Oh, yeah. Remember these? You remember those taglines? Yeah, you're excited now, right? Because we threw in the taglines. Yeah, you're excited now, right? Because we said the things, and that's exciting. I feel like if they'd slow down that narration, he's more than meets the eye. He's a robot in disguise. I feel like that would have been more effective.
Going ballistic to destroy the Autobots and conquer mankind. The evil Decepticons are more than meets the eye. Heroic Autobots versus evil Decepticons with the fate of planet Earth hanging in the balance. Transformers Generation 2. And now, through the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced stories of the Transformers. Transformers Generation 2.
And that part was just stupid. Oh, to the power of the Techno Cube or whatever the hell they said. Ugh, that was stupid. It's the 90s! Computers! It's computers!
Take all the dream being. Just close your eyes, make a wish. He will be there. Oh, oh, twinkle.
I don't know what's going on here.
By your side, side to side. He's the brightest star in the sky, sky, sky.
I'm not sure what to make of this.
Dream being will fly, fly, fly. So low with the hands.
I am confused right now. I'm
Twinkle the dream being. Just close your eyes, twinkle.
I have no idea what to even say right now. No idea what to make of this.
Twinkle the dream being. Just close your eyes, make a wish. He will be there. Make a wish. He will be there. Make a wish.
A lot of repeated, and a fair amount of repeated animation, which is not a good sign in your intro. Okay, because like, I understand why why animation gets repeated. It's cheap. Yeah, making a cartoon is a long and expensive process. It's not cheap and it's not quick. So anything that allows you to cut corners, if you can get away with it, go ahead and do it. But doing it in the intro sets a bad precedent. When you're repeating the animation that thoroughly in the intro, that tells the viewer that you don't care about your own show. You do kind of got to be a little bit careful with how much you repeat animation just in general. It's a lot less common these days. 80s and 90s, 90s was when 90s I think was when it just started to go out of style, because there were new animation techniques that could be used. Also, people came up with new ways of reusing animation, actually. But 90s, I think it sort of started to fade out. It's just started. So by the 2000s, I think, I suspect that reused animation was becoming a lot less common by then. Because, growing up in 90s cartoons, I don't really remember that much in the way of recycled animation. Though, again, I was young. I'm probably forgetting a lot. But, 90s and earlier, it was very common to recycle animation because, like I said, cheap and easy. But you gotta be careful about it because viewers aren't stupid. They'll pick up on that. And if you do it too much, it's going to take them out of the show. And when you do it in the intro, all that's doing is telling the viewers, hey, we do not give one single crap about you. We are cutting every corner that we can. We are cheap. We are lazy. We are cutting every damn corner that we can get away with, and a few that we can't. Ooh, that's not the shift. I was unaware of this, but Felix was the first fully realized recurring animal character in the history of American film animation. Debuted in 1919. Well, damn. Pretty good intro. It is very weird and definitely, like, stuff like this definitely feels like it's going on with the classic here. The CG artwork, no, but like, the hand-drawn animation was definitely felt like it was paying homage to a lot of, like, classic animation. Just the sheer weirdness of it. Which is great. I mean, Felix the Cat, century old now. Even at the time that show was out, I mean, it was 70-something years old. So yeah, I appreciate paying homage to the origins. So I'm going to explain something here. So, Ultra Force came from, I believe it was Malibu Comics, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Malibu Comics. So, back in the 90s, after the success of Image Comics, I suppose it predates Image, actually. But yeah, so it was just a small creator, small independent comic publisher. In the 90s, it did hit big, and in particular, it did a lot of superhero stuff in the 90s. It's also really, weirdly enough, Malibu's biggest impact, most long-term impact, coloring. Computer coloring of comic books. Digital coloring. It actually got bought out by Marvel specifically because, not specifically, but in large part because of that. Anyway, yeah. So they launched a bunch of superhero comics. Few of them were actually all that good, if I'm honest. Some of them had some really interesting ideas, but a lot of them were just not great. Ultra Force was sort of their version of the Avengers, and the theme, this intro, definitely feels like it's trying to copy X-Men animated series intro. This intro is so desperately wanting to capitalize on the popularity of the X-Men animated series. I do love the shouted Ultra Force! It is not a good intro, but it is hilarious. This intro is hilarious. Fun fact, that dude created by goddamn Barry Windsor Smith. Weird comic. The comic that dude came from was really weird. But goddamn Barry Windsor Smith. One of the all-time great comic artists. You see what I mean about it, like desperately wanting to be the X-Men animated series intro, but they threw in the Ultra Force. So yeah, I have seen this intro before. I love it. It's ridiculous and awful, and I love it. And so much better than the actual cartoon itself is. I did actually watch the 2-part debut, because it's like, 2-part premiere episode. I did actually watch that. It's not good, but the comic it's based on is not good. Malibu did get purchased, as I mentioned, by Marvel, but I believe the rights to a lot of the characters are like kind of tied up. Oh, should mention Malibu. One Malibu comic you might have heard of, Men in Black. Yeah, that movie was based on a comic book, and so yeah, there's weird right stuff apparently, with the Ultraverse characters, with the Malibuverse, with the Malibu characters. Back in 2005, so 20 years ago, then editor-in-chief Joe Quesada mentioned that he wanted to bring back the Ultraverse, and he said that because of the way the deal was structured, it's basically impossible. And that there's and he mentioned that there's a very specific reason why they haven't gone back to it. But I really don't feel like it's my place to make that dirty laundry public, which is not a great sign, frankly. It's not related to sales percentages. He did say that while that's a nightmare, it's not the actual reason. So yeah, kind of unfortunate because, like I said, it's... Because some of them did have, some fairly interesting hooks. Some of them did have some relatively interesting ideas behind them. Hardcase is like a former superhero. His team was killed and he became a movie star. Prime was basically Shazam. He was a kid who could turn into an adult superhero. But, they explored into much... Yeah, because, in the comics, it's a kid, in the original comics, Captain Marvel, that version of Captain Marvel, the Shazam version of Captain Marvel, it's child wish fulfillment. With Prime, it was... They did sort of dig into it a little bit more from an adult perspective, how weird an idea it is. For example, he has a huge crush on Chelsea Clinton, because this is the 90s and she was Clinton was in the White House, which, you know, in his grown body is really inappropriate. And it's sort of like, you know, a kid's idea of what a superhero is like. And there's some, you know, the weird stuff to it as well. So, like I said, there's some relatively interesting ideas in it. In the Ultraverse, it's just a lot of it was not particularly well done. It was very 90s. A lot of it was just really friggin' 90s. It was a very, very 90s line of comics. Which, if you know anything about 90s comics, that alone should be enough to be like, oh, okay, yeah, so it's that, okay. So yeah. There were some interesting ideas, and like it'd be really interesting to see some of those characters like re-explored, with, you know, more current day sensibilities, I guess. But
The USA Cartoon Express.
apparently never gonna happen.
And heading west, it's a great thing called a cartoon fair.
I'm Hudson here, if you're into Lear.
It's time for cartoons right now, right here. Where Tony helps keep things right on track.
With famous cartoon stars riding in back.
Hop on board for the daily run. Animals, cartoony kind of fun. Action, adventure, and all the rest on the USA Cartoon Express.
As a, you know, as like a, you know, anthology intro, not bad actually, not bad. By the way, I feel like I should apologize for explaining so much about Malibu. There's a lot more to it. Honestly, if you're interested in comics, Malibu is actually like real, and like not just like reading comics, but if you're interested in like comic book history, you know, the way they're made and like, you know, politics and things like that, it's honestly like really worth either reading up on or watching videos. There's plenty of videos out there about Malibu. I think it is actually really interesting stuff. You know, the story behind Malibu. Actually, no, I don't want to say like the story behind Malibu is more interesting than the comics they put out, because they actually did put out some really interesting comics as well. It's just into the 90s that they got, when they got into the superhero stuff. So when they got into the superhero stuff that they sort of became less interesting, but or that they sort of fell off. But you know, like I said, if comic history interests you, Malibu actually is like it's honestly like some really interesting stuff that's worth reading up on. Vampires? Ugh, that's the stuff.
When a mysterious meteor crashes into a lonely junkyard, derelict vans and cars take on human-like life. The vampires suck the gas from innocent cars to feed their need for speed and drain the planet of all its fuel. Only 4 teenagers, transformed by the meteor, stand between the vampires and a world sucked dry and running on empty. Part team, part car, all hero. The motivators must fight the night to save the day. So check your fear and get in gear. The vampires are here.
Wow, an entire series based on some dude making a typo while trying to write a vampire story. Like, it's clear that's what happened. Dude was like, you know, I'm gonna write a vampire story. Like, just didn't really have a clear idea on what to do. Probably, maybe maybe like they're from space, and he's just typing out some ideas, and he accidentally typed vampires from space instead of vampires from space, and it's like, hey. Man, the acting when the guy was like, oh, God. So yeah, that show looked horrible. That looked like it was really a terrible show. Idea that VeggieTales had a good intro. Who would have known? This is a really, like, genuinely funny. It's honestly like a clever idea. I don't have any hands. Like, that's like, genuinely, I'm shocked. Like, I always thought VeggieTales just like a really goofy idea. But that's a great intro. That is a killer intro. Like, absolutely perfect for kids. Like, it's, a lot of it's sort of unexpected. It's not how intros go. Like, that's not how intros work, generally. With them, like, sort of talking before it even starts. Yeah, I actually really liked that. www.mask.me. Your illusion is the ultimate weapon. Animation's weird. I suppose it is, like, it's not that different from the 90s X-Men cartoon, actually. It's just, it feels weird. It feels like stuff moves, like, like sort of bit by bit in a like a kind of a weirdly jerky manner. It's not very smooth. Vortex. Okay. Anyway, looks pretty generic. Just 90s G.I. Joe knockoff.
Wake up, it's another day. Time to get going, why sleep when we can play?
A McDonald's cartoon?
Good morning, Ronald.
Gotta get ready to enjoy the view. Looking kinda cool, looking kinda new. There are things we should be trying, me and you. A new day's here and fun is overdue. It's getting even cooler, step into a new beat. Got it tingling inside me and it's spreading to my feet. McDonald Land is changing. Everything is rearranging. I can't sit still, cause it's a beautiful day. And Ronald McDonald's got something to say.
I kinda gotta disapprove of it just cause, man, that is some...
Now good morning in McDonald Land. Let's see what's happening.
That is some blatant advertising to kids, like in a really obnoxious manner, so I kinda gotta disapprove of it.
First.
I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like that intro. It's like, look how wacky we are. I don't know. I feel like Tex Avery deserves better than that intro. No. No. Debbie Detective? Jeez, yeah, Debbie was like a slang. Was it? Am I wrong, or was Debbie like a slang term in the 90s? Am I wrong? I might be wrong. I feel like for some reason I thought Debbie was like a term in the 90s for like maybe among like a very specific like a West Coast thing or something. I don't remember. I could be wrong. I could be totally. It's like another like cartoon anthology type of thing. Because that was like wacky racist. Yeah. It's another like cartoon anthology thing, which
En speelt de anti-held.
okay. And growing on me.
Is je held vertellen, heeft een bankje geen krediet. Nu dan watermelon in, veel eisend is hij niet. Goed zo, watermelon. De watermelon, de watermelon, de watermelon,
Yeah. That intro kind of grew on me. Yeah, I wasn't totally sold on it at first, but it grew on me. I liked it. I liked that intro. That was a good intro. Sort of. It was, yep. It was catchy. Art style itself? The intro is actually really interesting. It's actually pretty well done. Yeah, it's tense. It's mysterious. Battle Raiders, okay. Yeah, it's like it started off like really interesting, really compelling, and then when it got into like showing action, it just looked bad. It's just the art does not look good, and the explosions look terrible in that art style, that animation style. So yeah, took a definite downturn there. Nice music. I like this music. It's very peaceful. Very like, does have some sort of fantasy vibe to it. But, yeah, it's peaceful, it's pastoral. Why does that middle one look so worried? And like maybe. Watership Down. I've heard of that one. Yeah, that'll do for now. we will finish up next time. And it had damn well better have the X-Men cartoon, the X-Men intro next time. Because I mean, we're going to be getting it. We're on W right now, so going to be a lot of W's, I imagine, and then we'll get into X, Y, Z. So it damn well better not be missing the X-Men intro, because that's best ever. But yeah, some pretty good ones here. There are some interesting ones here. I don't think there are any cartoons I actually watched in this batch. But some of those intros were actually pretty good. A couple of them were really bad, and Ultra Force was hilariously bad. Loved how bad that one was. So yeah. Next time, we will finish up, at long last, the 90s cartoon intros. So join me for that, please.